We'll start with, I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Joe is the secretary. If you can just make sure that you got attendance.
Yeah.
And we'll go ahead and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible,
Justice.
with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Let's see. Okay, we have attendance.
Yep.
We're going to hold off on the review of the minutes until we get a quorum. And I will, at this point, I'd like to go ahead and open it up to Mr. Joe Bertrand. And Joe, I think you're going to talk about the permanent building piece and kind of frame the scope of what is required for the memorial.
Thank you. As indicated, my name is Joe Bertrand. I'm the chairman of the Permanent Building Committee, and we're responsible for the building of the new Wakefield Memorial High School. As part of it, my wife and I, you may know Nancy, we were involved in the subcommittee looking at the interior design of the high school. And the architects, because it's a memorial high school, had suggested putting up literally moving the plaques from the Galvin over to the high school of the fallen heroes. And we thought that was not a very good idea. And when we looked at it, we noticed that the plaques that are over there at the Galvin do not include the Vietnam War, do not include the Korean War, the Gulf War. So we thought that what might make sense is to have a bronze plaque at the high school, since it's a memorial high school, indicating all of those who have given their lives from the town of Wakefield. And what was suggested to preface it was a quote from General Galvin when he described Wakefield. And it goes, "A town that unflinchingly laid its sacrifices on the cruel altar of war, when called upon to do so, and the monuments on the common attest to the hard fact that that call has come all too often." And then we would list the names of the individuals. I wanted to reach out to people because we needed to get a complete list of the names. We think we have a fairly complete list. However, my wife, doing a little research today, may have found two more that died during the Revolutionary War, maybe even three, but there was a question about a first name. But anyway, that was what we would like, and it's just a bronze plaque exactly like the one at the Galvin for the Civil War, and the ones for World War I and World War II. It would just be all of them in one particular site. The actual black plaque for the Korean War veterans that was placed, I guess, at the original building of the high school in the 70s would remain and would be put in a prominent position near the entrance to the high school. So I would just wanted to inform you of that and see if there's any concerns, questions that anyone may have. Or whether you think it's a good idea, bad idea, whatever.
Go ahead, Marion.
Is that going to include all those that were KIA? Is that what that's going to include, all from all of those wars? Or you said you're listing names?
Yes, it's going to include all of them.
All KIA, that's it?
Yes.
Okay.
We received a list today from Steve Mayo that included like 8 pages of names.
Any questions, Mark or Joe?
None for me.
Joe Jacoby, you on?
Can you hear me, Paul?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Um, when you say a plaque, would that all wars come on way back, or just in the Vietnam conflict?
All wars,
All wars. So
going
even like
back
the
to the
Civil War?
Revolutionary. Pardon?
Okay.
Going
Yeah,
back to the
well, you just answered my
Revolutionary.
question. You
Yeah.
just answered my question.
Yeah, yeah.
So-
Um, Nancy, who you know is involved in the history of the town, she actually found two other names, for sure, Edmund Parker and an Ephraim Pratt, and possibly a Benjamin Williams. She has to look some more at that. They were died in 1776 and 1777. So we're just going to try to confirm those.
Yeah, we actually started that list with Joshua Eaton that
Yes.
was a resident of South Reading at the time, because it wasn't
Correct.
Wakefield yet. But,
Right, right.
got more. We need to add that.
Yeah, and so we're trying to just confirm those, but I think we're gonna try to add those as well once it's confirmed. And now Reading
Are there going to be names, just names, or names and photos?
names,
Renderings.
just the names.
Okay, because I remember at one point we had, I think it was brought up by somebody else. I just remember hearing it that there was an idea floated out that there could be possibly, it would obviously not necessarily next to the name, but there'd be a QR code or something that somebody could hold their phone up and get a biography or at least a date of birth, date of death, service time, branch of service, and some like a small sort of a biography. I understand back in the Revolutionary War it'd be less and less, but I think more modern Vietnam era, World War II, and in Iraq would justify a little bit more information. I remember somebody mentioned that a few months back, and that's
being worked on. It's being worked on, Mark, by the now he's a college student. And his name, I won't give it justice if I try to pronounce it. He's a great kid, he's very smart, and he's been working on it. I was talking to Paul today about contacting him to see how far he's gotten with it. And I think for the new high school, I was contacted also by the architects regarding my input on it. Hey, Dale, you are all right. Hey, got the link. Okay. And I was curious also about the veterans who have passed. We're going to be putting in veterans in there who have fallen. We have to look at the Medal of Liberty and the Medal of Fidelity, which those veterans have been vetted, and they are part of the community, Wakefield community, who have passed as a result of being in wars. An example being those who have passed as a result of Agent Orange, asbestos, Camp Lejeune, if they were doing time there, and the Wakefield Marines, and they died for the good of the nation. They need to be recognized also. If this plaque, the memorial they're going to be putting in the new high school, is big enough, then there's going to be a lot of names. And we also have to look at the amount of space that's going to be warranted to it. Is it going to be like the Galvin, where it's almost 50 feet, 60 feet long, encased in glass? Is it going to be a place where it's part of the entranceway or near the auditoriums and things of that nature?
The location presently was, first off, it was be a very large, long wall. So there would be space for any large type of plaque. That's not an issue at all. It would be placed when you would enter the new high school, it would be to the right on a hallway to the right which would be visible as you walked in. It would be across from the administration offices.
Now there are some plaques from for an example, Mr. Scott had a plaque there at the high school. There was a few of them. I have their names somewhere in my folder from 3 or 4 years ago.
That's the black plaque that I referred to. That's
Yes.
going to remain, and it would be prominently placed near the entrance to the high school, because that was done originally and back in the 70s when the new high school was built. And that was for that sole purpose, so we would keep that. And it would be prominently entered, and we would have that right in the beginning, right in the entrance area on the walls as you entered. But
Good.
there's not enough space for like the big plaque. So there would have to, that's why it would be just a little bit to the right as you entered, and a whole hallway. And that's where we're looking at it for right now.
Yeah, and just to help you out, that was done in 1954 for the original high school, not 1970s.
No, whenever. I
Yeah,
wasn't here then.
I wasn't either. I'm not a Wakefieldian, so it's kind of
I
confusing.
think the 70s is when it burned down.
We were here.
I mean, as I know the story, you're right. In the early 70s, 1972 or so, the high school burnt down.
And then
A
it
lot of-
moved,
A lot of things moved over to the Galvin
correct.
and have never since gone back to the high school. They've always stayed at the Galvin.
Right, that's right.
So there's talk in town to get those items out of the Galvin and back into the Wakefield Memorial High School.
Yeah.
So the other question that I have is along the lines of kind of sort of scope and scale, but to follow up on something that Mark Young said, in the QR code project is currently underway in the Galvin Middle School, linking those pictures that are in that casing, okay, to a QR code. And I'll tell you why that's kind of neat, because the Veterans Administration right now has got a program. I forget the title of it off the top of my head, David, but it links with that QR code. You go straight to the veteran who was killed in action, and it gives a brief description of the awards, the situation, and any personal items, photographs, and things like that. So it's an interactive aspect to that memorial that is underway. Okay. I don't know if this is something that can be done at the memorial that you're proposing here for the new high school.
I don't know how it would work, because if it's a bronze plaque, whether that, I can't do the QR things anyway with my phone, so I can't. I'm not technically capable of figuring that out, but I'm not so sure it would work with a bronze plaque like that. But I think when I was the chair at the end of when we built the Galvin and put those pictures there and did that. And that is a great idea to put that QR code there, because that really would work quite well, I think.
Well, it's also leveraging the opportunity of the technology that the students currently have.
Yeah.
And I would anticipate the technology that they're going to have in the future.
Yeah.
To take a look at that. And so that kind of follows up on what Mark was talking about, what David was talking about. And David also brought up another piece. And today I was down at the State House for the Memorial Day ceremony, where the Lieutenant Governor and the Adjutant General issued 10 Medal of Liberty awards. And the Medal of Liberty was an award that was approved by the Patrick administration. And the Medal of Fidelity, there was one Medal of Fidelity recipient, but the Medal of Fidelity is an award that was approved by Governor Baker and his administration. The legislation that's driving some of these changes is also changing our languages. For example, we used to say Gulf War I and Gulf War II. Well, now we say Gulf War. And anybody who served in Gulf War II is part of the global war on terror. New terminologies, okay? We've also redesigned our wartime periods. For example, Vietnam era and Korean era, okay? Doesn't mean you served in Korea, doesn't mean you served in Vietnam. but they bunched that time frame together. And it gets a little bit sticky if you have somebody that served in the first Gulf War, okay, their orders and information needs to be updated, so that we can map that out correctly on the wall. And then we also need to update what the most recent period is, which is the global war on terror. Technically, the global war on terror ended when the last soldier got on the plane out of Afghanistan. Okay. But there's a lot of loose ends. And our legislation has not, it takes time and it's hard to define. And what I don't want to see is you jumping ahead there and we etch this in stone. And now we got to change it because something in the legislation or something has changed in terms of, who is on that wall. Okay.
Well, this wouldn't be installed for 2 years, 2 to 3 years. We're just planning this thing now. And to plan it, we have to, design and plan the thing. But for the final, actual plaque itself, we're gonna, it will take some time to figure out exactly and go over all the details that you mentioned. But we're trying to just get ahead of it and to plan it, but the actual plaque's not gonna be made for several years. Because it's not gonna be installed until in January, like in the fall of 26.
Does the designer have an idea of what template they want to use? For example, first name, last name, rank.
We haven't gone
Conflict.
into the first thing we wanted to do is make sure we had the names and
Okay,
how many, and therefore then how big it has to be.
okay, so the list that Steve gave you is kind of a good start.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, I just want to go public here. I don't want that's not the list that I would put on the wall.
No,
That's okay for reading.
but we're, like I indicate, we need to figure out size and there's a technical thing that we're dealing with as far as how we're paying the thing. It has to do with money in the budget, so but that's none of your concern. It's mine, unfortunately.
Well, I think it's our money. It pertains
Correct.
to everything. But
It's money we got. What happens is you have to spend a certain amount of money from it has to do with the MSBA.
yeah,
Massachusetts School Building Authority, that you have to do it at a certain time and at a certain time, and you lose it if you don't spend it. And we don't want to lose this one grant that we got, the money that we got from them. And that's why we're trying to figure this thing out now,
okay.
generally speaking.
No, that's fair. I would really take a hard look at what was moved to the Galvin in I think it was 1972, to see if what was moved to the Galvin can be relocated back to the Wakefield Memorial High School, the actual plaque. And a lot of that has to do with information that I'm receiving from other citizens in town and residents in town that are concerned that those plaques never got back to the high school where they were originally intended to be. Lots of things have occurred. There was a fire at the high school. There was a fire at the Atwell, all these kinds of things we can't get around. But most of those items have been preserved and are still able to be used. Okay.
They're there.
Yeah.
They're on the wall. Yeah.
You mentioned one that's really large, though. That's too large for the wall there. I'm trying to picture that one.
Yeah, I looked at it when I went over to election, and I mean, those things are there right across from the auditorium and across from the pictures that are in the cases.
Yeah.
The 2 plaques. And I thought I thought they looked good there. I thought it made sense there. And that's why we thought maybe make one large one for the Memorial High School rather than move the 2 from the Galvin.
Yeah. I would ask the names on those plaques what they desire to be safe. That's my recommendation. Because No, I'm just saying, there's
We're
family.
just trying to do something to honor those, and that's it. You know, those were put there and decided at the time, but to be into the new Galvin. I was involved in that.
Again, originally intended to be in the Wakefield Memorial High School. I don't have a lot of DNA from growing up in this town. I've only been here for 26 years, so I'm new to New England. But
I've only been here for 40, so I'm new too. Many of the people in this town.
my suggestion would be to run that by some of the names that are the family names that are on that plaque now, the next of kin, or those that may still be in Wakefield, just to kind of get what we used to call in the military a warm and fuzzy. Anybody else have any questions for Mr. Bertrand? Nothing? Joe, thank you very much. I didn't mean I think what Nancy has done with Wakefield 360 and the research and everything else over the many years has my full support. And I just want to make it, I don't like moving things twice, if you follow where I'm going. And once it's engraved and once it's set, then I think it'll be fine. But I think discussions, as you said, this will take a couple more years.
Yep.
A final product. Hopefully you have enough information now to meet the schedule and the funding requirements. Okay, but I see a need to get involved a little bit deeper to make sure that we get it right. Okay,
Yep.
we don't want to do it twice.
Nope. And that's the problem. If we move the plaques in the Galvin, there'd be no point to having the big plaque with everyone's name on it. Because you'd just be repeating yourself. We would just add a small one for the later wars. That's why we thought it made sense to have one big plaque for everyone.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I understand, but I'm also sharing with you some other feedback that I'm getting in town from other families. And I think that feedback is very important. Marion.
Well, perhaps if Joe, if you talk to the families involved and explain what it is that you're proposing to do with the high school so they know exactly what it is, perhaps they would agree to just leave those plaques where they are and have the bigger one go at the high school. As long as they know why they're being left there, what's proposed to go up at the new high school. If you at least talk to them, they may turn around and surprise you and agree to just, yeah, that's fine. So maybe, I agree, you should talk to them one way or the other, but they may agree with what you're doing and not be concerned with moving the other plaques anyway.
Okay.
It might not be a bad idea just to have like at one of the veterans coffees that we have on a monthly basis. If you could come in, we invite those families to the coffee and discuss it. I don't know, David, would that be okay or?
Yeah, that'd be fine. That'd be fine.
Yeah, as long as just let me know when they are and I'll be happy to. I'll be thrilled to.
Next month is on the 15th of June.
Okay.
At 10 o'clock at the downstairs at the senior center, the old the McCarthy Center there on 30 Converse Street.
Okay.
I'll put it on my agenda and
Great.
I'll invite Julie Scott as well. She's an advocate for this whole transition, and she may have something to say about it too. It'll be good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Yep.
Joe, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Appreciate your time. And
No
say hi to
problem.
Nancy.
Will do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Secretary.
Right, I think we can move back to the vote on accepting the April minutes.
We have a motion on the floor for a discussion about the April minutes.
I just moved to approve them.
Okay, we have And is there a second?
I'll second.
Second? Okay, all those in favor of approving the April 2024 minutes from the Veterans Advisory Board? Any opposed? Okay, approved.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
Right, and next up is the VSO report. Mr. Mangan.
Yes, thank you very much. And the Veteran Service Officers Report for May 21st, 2024. The Veterans Monthly Food and Dry Goods Support Program was held Wednesday, May 15th behind the Senior Center. 27 applicants received food selections from the Greater Boston Food Bank assembled by volunteers from Wakefield and the surrounding communities of Stoneham, Saugus, Melrose, North Andover, and the Melrose Fire Department. If any veteran spouse or immediate family member of a veteran would like to participate in this program and to be included in the drive-through and pickup, please call my office for further information. 781-246-6377, or email me at dmangan, that's DMANGAN, at wakefield.ma.us. The monthly Veteran Coffee Social was not held this month, as we're going to be attending the Wakefield High School ceremony on Friday, May 24th, at the Field House, the gym, at 9:30 a.m. Coffee and donuts will be available for the veterans at 9 a.m. The speaker at the event will be Megan Papagno, who is a 2010 Wakefield graduate and Norwich University graduate. Currently, Meg is a Massachusetts Army National Guard recruiter. Meg was an all-star Wakefield Memorial High School athlete in hockey, soccer, and track, as well as hockey at Norwich University. The placing of the flags at the Lakeside Cemetery is done on Monday, May 20th, where over 900 flags were placed for veterans' graves from the Civil War to the most current of internments. There will be 24 flags left at the main building as you enter the cemetery for any that may have been missed by the volunteers. Friday, May 24th at 4 p.m., we will be gathering for the flag placement at the Forest Glade Cemetery. Please bring a screwdriver to provide an entry hole for the flag in the event the soil is hardened. And a huge thank you goes out to the Girl Scouts for the assist at the Veterans Upper Common as they placed 161 flags in honor of our fallen. The public is invited to attend the Town of Wakefield's Memorial Day ceremony on Monday, May 27th, 2024 at 1 p.m. This outdoor ceremony is on the Upper Common in front of the World War II Memorial. Spectators will witness a formal 21-gun salute, our nation's highest honor, rendered by the Colonial Battery 1st Battalion, 101st Field Artillery Regiment, Massachusetts National Guard, the nation's first. The ceremonial battery consists of 3 M105 howitzers, which will be positioned on the lower common. The Senior Center is about to embark on a renovation, and the VSO office will be moving from the downstairs to the second floor, giving us a larger office and a spot for an additional desk for the district director to share on the weekly support of the Veteran Services for Wakefield. This will take place probably October, November. They are working on it diligently currently. I'm requesting from the board some relief funds to assist a veteran and a spouse who have fallen deeply into a financial quagmire and are seeking help in paying off an auto loan of $1,700 on a vehicle that needs more mechanical repair than they can afford at this time. They are Chapter 115 clients who have also filed with the VA for benefits from a service-connected injury. They are without a vehicle and will be filing with the Chapter 115 at a future date to seek a one-time repair fund for the vehicle. With the current balance of the Veterans Relief Fund at roughly $16,000, I feel it would greatly serve this family for a one-time submission. I am asking for a vote on this by the board. Chapter 115. Several of our clients in this program have qualified for the Mass Health buy-in and will no longer be dependent on reimbursement of the Medicare Part B. There was an increase in the qualifications this year that allowed them to participate in the program. And as I have mentioned in each month under Chapter 115 of Massachusetts General Laws, the Commonwealth provides a uniform program of financial and medical assistance for veterans and their dependents. Qualifying veterans and their dependents receive necessary financial assistance for food, shelter, fuel, and medical reimbursement monthly in accordance with a formula that takes into consideration the number of dependents and income from all sources. For those on a medical only category, prescription drugs are reimbursed. And if they qualify for Mass Health buy-in, we can assist in getting the application submitted. If a veteran or a spouse of a veteran or a family member wishes to apply for the veteran's DD 214, that's the discharge papers, and if they are listed in Massachusetts active duty, in my office, I'm capable of retrieving it or can submit the documents to the National Records Center. In many cases, the document is required for many of the benefits of the VA, including Chapter 115. An example of that took place just this week, where a veteran was being buried, and they needed the DD 214 for the graveside military service. I do have access to a quick 2-day return of the DD 214. Financial assistance can be made available at Wakefield's veteran families or spouses of surviving veterans who fall into or become financially strapped and need a one-time assist for reasonable financial help. The requirement is that they will need to submit prior 3-month bank statements, savings statements included, information on any investment holdings that are redeemable, and the invoice on need for the assistance. The advisory board will then vote on the disbursement to establish the release of the funds. And once again, for appointments for veteran services, please contact me with any questions you may have regarding the ongoing benefits or submission of new benefits. My office is located downstairs at the rear entrance of the Senior Center, 30 Converse Street, Wakefield, and is by appointment only. Veteran service hours of operation, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Holidays on Monday hours will be Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Voicemail is checked 7 days a week at 781-246-6377. Are there any questions?
There a motion to approve David's minutes or David's report for May?
Can I just, David, is that,
Um,
did you want a motion from us to provide that money?
Yes, I need a vote on that
Okay.
from the board. And like I said, it's a one-time donate financial assistance, and I am going to require that I get the bank statements. They're already on Chapter 115, so their indigencies have already been established. This is to help them to get more or less out of the hole because they have that loan payment of like $250 every month that going towards that $1,700 that they owe in the car. And with interest, it would take it off their hands completely. A one-time thing.
I'll make a motion that we help them out. Without, how much is it? $1,700?
I believe it's $1,700, yes. That's what they owe on the car. They purchased the car for $7,000 4 years ago. And the
That'll
idea
take away
once
that,
the
that'll
one
take their 250 and put it back in their pockets for other expenses.
they
correct?
can't because I'm going to be sending the money right to the. Oh yeah, that's right. They will do that.
Right,
But the
that's what
money
I
we
mean.
provide, I'll make that you have the check made out to the bank that they owe the money to. They will
Okay.
not get that money. That'll be off their back. They'll have that $250 available now each month to use for whatever resource they need.
Well, I made the motion anyway. Has to be seconded.
You're on
You're
mute.
muted, Dale.
I'll
Dale,
second.
Dale, you need, there you go. Thank you.
There you go. All right, we have a motion for $1,700 out of the Veterans Relief Fund. Provide some assistance and been seconded. We'll bring that to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, passes.
Thank you.
Dave, you might
Yes.
talk to Aaron Burke about the Boyd, fund too. That's liable to give a one-time only.
Well, what, I will do that, Dan, because, the final figure, I don't have the exact amount. She's getting that next bill to me this week. And I'll look at that, and if it's between $1,600 and $1,800, we'll cover the 17, then the Burke Fund can get the rest of it.
All right. We have a
Dave,
motion on the floor to accept the VSO's May report.
Motion to accept.
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor to accept the VSO's report for May 2024?
I'll abstain only because I wasn't here.
We have one abstention. Okay. I think it was one of your longer reports, David.
They're gonna get longer as the situation increases, I'm afraid.
Okay.
Dave, could you email me a copy of your report?
Yes, Paul has it. I think I have your email, Joe. Bob, did you want it as well?
I don't know. You already sent it to me.
Yeah, I thought
Rob,
you were gonna send it to Joe.
Send it to Joe for public record.
Yeah. I'll make sure it gets out.
All right, at this juncture, I'd like to move on here. We have a new member, Joseph Jacoby. You want to just introduce yourself, Joe, and tell us a little bit about yourself, branch of service, and that sort of thing?
Okay, Paul. It's good seeing you again.
Yeah.
Name's Joe Jacoby. I live here in Wakefield. I live off of Salem Street. I've been a Wakefield resident now probably 8 years. I retired from active duty in 2003. United States Army, rank Master Sergeant. I'm currently retired, fully retired, and I met Paul a couple of months ago at another organization we both belong to, and we started talking, and both came from Wakefield, and it was like I discussed with Paul. I says, I want to give back. I want to do something for the veterans. I've been very lucky, very fortunate in my career. So I do have a lot of background in other areas that I can be useful with. After I retired, I worked at Fort Devens. I was the education service specialist for the Army ACES program for active duty soldiers in New England. So I have a good background knowledge of the educational benefits available for veterans. So if there's anything you need to know or somebody needs to know, I can probably help you out. I help them out with it. So, and I'm glad to be aboard.
welcome, Joe.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Yep, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And I know Dave from the cigar store a long time ago. Don't go there anymore, Dave.
No, I don't go there anymore either.
Bad habit.
Yeah, me too. 5 years ago. Yeah, about 5 years ago. Yeah.
We're up to item number 8, Memorial Day program final notes. Let me just kind of go. I'm going to just ask for some help here. I know some of you won't be here next weekend. That's fine. If you are here, I do need some assistance with the program. If not, you're going to have the public is never going to come back to a Memorial Day program again because I'll be saying everything. I'm looking for a volunteer to lead the Pledge of Allegiance from the Veterans Advisory Board.
I already mentioned that.
You want to do that?
Yeah, I already told you.
Dale,
You sent me a thank you.
I'm sorry.
All
No
runs together after a while, Paul.
You're not. It's on paper now, Dale. I got it.
Okay.
The job's never done until it's on paper. Dave, you're up for in Flanders Field. That's Dave Mangan. Okay, do I have any volunteers that would like to read the proclamation?
Wow.
Mm,
How long is it?
It's quick. It's not that long. I have it in my office and I can get it to you, come by and pick it up.
Yeah, I'll read
Look at it
that.
over the weekend.
I'll do that.
Want to do that, Dale?
Yeah, I'll do that.
That's a bunch of whereases.
Yep.
Okay. I do need somebody from town council. Don't have the decision yet on that. And the last item that I have two vacancies to read names of the fallen. Do I have any volunteers to read one of those, or and possibly somebody else to read a second? Dale, you had mentioned your
Grandson, yes. And his mother was supposed to talk to him today and let me know. She has not. I don't know which way it'll go, but put it down and I'll find someone if he doesn't do it.
okay. What is his name?
Connor Keane, Conor Keane, Keane.
Okay.
He's in the sixth grade at the Galvin.
Okay. I will email you. I'll email you a copy of the names for him so he can practice.
Sure. Well, okay. Do you know which, I have from last year, the list of names. Is it?
I'll email it. I'll email it. It's the same list. It's not changed.
Yeah, okay.
It's page 6.
Page 6. I got it. Okay, no problem.
Page 6 of 8 is what I wrote them down for. And
Well,
that's it.
I talked with Dennis Fazio and he's got a table all set to go in for the books. And my grandsons will be giving out the books, the Vietnam books.
Okay. Would your grandsons like to read one?
I don't want to commit to that yet, but when they're there, if you have no one to do it, I think Matthew might be able to, but I'll run it by him.
What I'm trying to do is get the list to the readers ahead of time this year so they can rehearse it and they're not stumbling over the names.
Well, I still haven't gotten the commitment out of them actually being there Monday, except my daughter thought it was Saturday, so she said that because they had baseball games on Saturday. I told her it's Monday. She said, well, that's going to work. So then she hasn't gotten back to me, but now that works.
No, I'm when I email and their name is at the top of the list, they're booked. Okay. They're sold.
I have a question. Last
Sure.
meeting, we talked about going in and picking up some books. Is this the books that we're talking about?
Yes,
Yeah.
Paul and I picked up about 250 or 300 of them.
Okay,
There are 22 cases of them.
okay.
Yeah. Just and David, this is for you more than anybody else. We also may need a table, and we'll talk to Dennis about it for the Bell of Peace from the fire department. I don't know if we've ever done. Yeah, I think we have done that outside once. But
I have a small folding table, which is,
it's a heavy bell. Marion.
Well, are you just looking for, students to read those names or anybody?
Anybody.
All right, I'm gonna, I'll give Pam Hart a call. She's gonna be there at the memorial. I'll ask her if she might be willing to do one page. I'll get back to you. She's not home. I just tried to call her, but I'll ask her. She might be willing to do one page for you.
Okay. So I have, just to kind of let you in on the secret to my madness, in the invitations to a variety of people, I also asked if they would bring a friend or two to go ahead and read the names of the fallen. So that's how I was able to solve and resolve this year. And actually, I'm learning more about programming. The more you can break it up and the more pieces you have to the puzzle, the better off your program is going to be. Okay, it's a little work on my part, but if I can delegate, I'm definitely going to delegate to somebody. So, Marion,
And I'll be picking up the wreath Friday, Paul, about 11 a.m.
that's good news. Thank you. And any other questions about the Memorial Day program? So everybody understands, we're going to have kind of a part one and a part two for the program. Part one is going to be the formal part of the program with speakers, award presentations, where everybody gathers around the memorial. Okay, we'll post the colors with Troop 701, and then conduct the ceremony there in front of the memorial. After the benediction and the colors are retired, I'm going to ask the public to move around to the backside of the memorial so that they can view the lower common, because that's where and that's where taps will also be played after the 21 gun salute. Okay, because not everybody will be able to see the cannon in front of that memorial. Just so the board knows.
The Main Street Grill and Tap, Paul,
Yes.
that donated the gift cards for the soldiers. They're going to offer a 10% discount for any and all veterans that want to come to the dockside of Main Street Grill after the event on Monday.
They do that every Monday.
Yeah, they're gonna do it more so, I guess, that day. I don't know what, he sent me an email to say, make sure you let people know about that. If they want to go after that assembly, so.
Okay. Good to know. Mr. Secretary, I think I'm up to items for discussion.
You are correct.
Around the horn. I'll start with Mr. Ettinger, since he's been in the push-up position for about 10 minutes here.
I don't really have anything to add.
I like the hat. Okay. Mr. Dale Finley. You're on mute, Dale.
Okay. We talked briefly at the end of the last month's meeting about doing something regarding the issues of military recruitment, how poor it has been for our services. And so I'd like to recommend that we set up a subcommittee of people. I know a lot of effort has been put into it by people on this committee to see if we can makes a positive impact on it. But to date, I don't know of any positive impact that we've been able to accomplish. And I'd like to see if we can get together as a subcommittee of 2 or 3 people and see if we can understand what is the best route to go. Paul, you had indicated some ideas, which I thought were very good. Inviting the recruitment personnel to our meetings. I would add to that I would think that we need to make meetings with the Wakefield Education Board and see, express our concern of lack of, recruiters coming in and things like that. And the reason why we want to have them coming in. It is an opportunity for some students, not all students, but some students. And then I think if I would like to recommend that we write some letters to the item and bring this issue to the public of Wakefield. And that's at least my starting point. Okay. as I said, I would like to get, if I can, at least 2 to 3 other people who would be interested in being on a subcommittee, and we would meet, once a month and then report to the full meeting. Okay, what we discussed and where we are.
Well,
Jill, I'd
Meg's,
like to help you with that.
there you go.
Okay,
I'm a former recruiter myself.
sounds
So
good.
you can count me in.
Good.
If you
Excellent.
can, if you could get Meg Papagno, who's going to be the speaker on Friday morning,
Yeah.
you might want to corral her on that day after the talk.
Yeah.
And 'cause she's a recruiter now,
Yeah.
and she works with the high school. She knows the people, the guidance counselors and everything. So
Unfortunately,
I
I'm
know
not
I
going
had that, I
to.
had that when I was recruiting. There is issues with some educators about getting the recruiters in there.
I know.
And that's their biggest obstacle.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
glad to help you.
I will say I'd like to talk to that woman, but unfortunately, I've got a VA medical appointment, which I've been waiting for 3 months, so I can't move it. Okay, so you can talk to him and talk to her and give her my information, okay, and see if she can communicate, and if she could come to one of our first meetings, that would be great.
So, okay, just to kind of recap here. Joe Jacoby, you got an opportunity on Friday, okay, at Wakefield Memorial High School. That's at 9 o'clock in the morning
In the auditorium. I mean, in the field house.
in the field house. Yeah.
9 o'clock in the morning.
And the primary speaker is a recruiter. Okay. And she's very good.
And she's Army Guard.
She's Army National Guard. Yes.
Yeah, that was me. So we talk the same language.
Yes. Just a heads up for those that are going to the ceremony on Friday. Parking is going to be an issue. It is always an issue, but this year, what's going to complicate it is the construction that's ongoing in and around the area. So plan ahead to maybe arrive. No, my plan is at least a half an hour early to find a place to park.
Plan on parking on Old Nahant Street,
Well,
not on Nahant Street.
just as an example, last year, most of us were parking up on the hill across the street from the football field and probably about a quarter mile down the road on Farm Street. Okay. Which is not a problem for me, but some people may have problems walking and things like that. There was no construction going on last year. The challenge with this assembly is that it's also the release for the seniors, and most likely every senior that has a driver's license will bring a car. Okay, so that's part of the problem and the challenge, because the seniors get released after the assembly. So it's definitely a worthwhile event, and they do a wonderful job at the school, and I strongly encourage you to go. Joe, if you haven't been to one of those, you'll be very
I'll
impressed.
be there.
And casual dress is fine. Just neat attire. You can wear your veterans gear and swag if if you're a Marine, you can wear what you want.
Yeah, it's closet shrinkage. Can I wear my ancient's uniform?
I wouldn't wear the ancient uniform, no.
We got to get you guys over there.
I've been there, Joe. Joe Milano and Jerry Sweeney.
Yeah,
Yeah, good guys. Good guys.
yeah. Jerry's a very good guy.
Yeah.
All right, continuing around the horn. Any questions for Dale? Joe, you got anything?
I'm good.
Terry?
Learning curve for me right now.
Okay. Mark Young?
I have nothing new to add.
Nothing new to add. Marion?
I have one thing. I had a request from actually a member of the West Side Social Club whose son is in the Navy. And I'm looking, I guess, for direction on who I should go to on this. But he made a comment which I thought was actually very good, and that is that why is it that in the paper you see Sally Jones is going to UNH and John whatever is going to whatever college, but you never see in the paper about those that have enlisted to go into a branch of the service. And I just think that that's just as important as any of the kids that are going to college. And I'm just wondering if anybody has any direction on who I will do it if you want, or if somebody else should do it, that's fine too. But who I should talk to at the school to maybe start getting that done. I believe he said it was 2000 and what did he say? 22 when his son went into the service. There were 7 members of that class, he said, that went into the service. They were mostly from the Navy, I believe, and then some from the Army. And he said, not one of them. You never heard their names, but there was lists and lists and lists of those that went into college. And I think he's right. I think those men and women deserve just as much recognition as those kids that are going to college. So anybody can give direction on who to speak to, that would be great, because I would like to see that done going
Yeah,
forward.
I think that's one of the things we need to speak to the item about. Mark Seidel, things like that.
But
So,
they would receive those lists, would they not, from the high school? Wouldn't be the high school? It's the high school who lets them know where the kids are going for college.
Yeah.
So would not we have to speak to the high school about providing that list to the item?
Are they asking for it? Because I know they used to do that. I know when I went in, it was in the paper. So it might, maybe we address both of it, because it may be something like if the item asks for a list of, where students got accepted or where they're going, the school provided it, versus is the school just sending it to the item?
So maybe ask the item first, Joe?
I would see what,
Yeah.
and then if they're like, hey, I just put what they give, then we could go to the school and ask for that.
Okay.
I do
Okay.
want to comment, okay, that this year only one of the graduating class went into the military.
Yeah,
And that
well,
person went into the naval, is going into the Naval Academy. Other than that, there is no other recruits from this graduating class.
there's
So
none
let-
that are going into a program, a military program at the college they're going to? No, none of that.
I'm gonna make a comment,
Please.
Miriam. Hold on
Yep.
a second. Joe, you brought up an excellent point. And I did not enlist in service after high school. However, if you're looking at the school, and I have to ask the question, and I'll ask it to Joe because you brought this up, but is a contract for enlistment on the same timeline as the acceptance to colleges and universities? For example, if a student graduates from high school and contracts in July, can the school say that he or she is going into the military prior to contracting? And then there's another variable here. Once the student contracts into the military, doesn't it become the recruiter's job to make what we used to call the hometown news release?
Yeah, I think that's more of what it is. If you're delayed entry and you're going after high school but you've already enlisted, that's one thing. I think the bigger thing is regardless of when you enlist, whether you're in high school or maybe you went and did college for a couple of years and didn't, there should just be a standalone, like, these are the people that enlisted. I think if we make it about, if we just look at it as high school students that are enlisting, then that's going to be a smaller list. Because to your point, they would have to have that done, essentially the year before their junior year for that to show up. I think it's more of a thing where we should look at how do we get the names of residents of Wakefield that have been listed. And if I remember correctly, I think my parents actually submitted it to the paper. Like the paper ran like, hey, we posted once a month on the last Friday or whatever, from what I remember. But I think it's worth something. That's why I think maybe we go with the item and see if there's like a way we can get a column and maybe do something like that once a month. Anyone that enlists family can send it in, because there's probably a much better chance that the family is going to send it in versus the school.
And I think, Joe, also to tag with that individuals or individuals a list of the benefits that will be available to them for their education, for their travel, of course, and the type of military discipline they'll get for joining the military.
Yeah.
The pluses.
Yeah,
What are the pluses for other people read it? Some parents, or when they have kids that don't know what they want to do with themselves, and they're only going to college because their parents want to get them out the door, and they're taking courses like, anyhow, you know where I'm going with that.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah,
point
student
is,
living.
if that person is enlisting in the military 4 years, 2 years, whatever, their entitlement would be, as Joe would know, the educational benefits that stand up for that, 2 years
Well,
of free college or whatever.
Can I interject here? What I used to do in my more friendly high schools, I'd go into one of my Microsoft programs and I'd make up certificates. And one of the benefits we had with the Guard was 100% free tuition at state universities and colleges. And I type it up as a scholarship. And I try, if they were friendly, I'd go there on graduation night. And the school would bring the kids up and I'd present them there, snap a picture. That's one idea. And it makes the kid feel good. But like you say, delayed entry program, if they contracted in March, the day after graduation, they're going to be at MEPS and they're gone, so they're already in. They put their paw up, they're in.
Yeah.
And maybe we can get together with the other recruiters that cover, the other services that cover, Wakefield area and see if we can work with them on something. So just an idea.
I think this would be an excellent segue into the Veterans Corner, to add that in with the Veterans Corner. And also we have 2 veterans on the town council now. So it might be something that one of these veterans could announce it at one of the meetings. When I went off to Vietnam, I got it from the town of Wakefield, a wallet with the town seal on it. I still have it, actually.
What about the $5 they put in for you, Dan? You still got the $5?
I thought those were shillings.
Okay.
I also, one other suggestion to Dale and Joe, seeing as they're going to be this subcommittee. I wonder if we could talk to the school for the juniors and seniors each year to have a assembly of some kind regarding enlistment, and have people from each one of the branches of the service there to speak, have some kind of assembly, if they would be receptive to that.
Well, the recruiters try to do that. They try to get into the schools and do that and say, can I have a day in the school? Just set up. Or, and I used to work with the other branches, and, we'd bring in, we'd bring in a Humvee. We'd bring in an ambulance. And you'd be surprised. Like at the Volk school, they used to have the engineers bring in their machine shop, their mobile machine shop. And, and the kids, it's like, hey, this is cool,
Maybe if they had some kind of an assembly, and the ones that you had speaking to them, what you could find, if you could find around town, those that had already served in the service or were still serving in the service, but they had graduated from Wakefield High or something like that. I mean, it's just something that would draw them towards it, that these guys that are already in and serving could let them know what the benefits are and what they've gotten into. And I mean, these friends, the father that I was talking to, and well, actually there were 2 of them, one of them is in the submarine service and the other one is going to be, I think, in the submarine service. But, you know, they just felt like their kids have really done a lot since they've joined the service. They've gone to schooling and training and what have
Right.
you, and they're where they want to be, and they're very proud of them. But they said all we get is the kids going to college.
Well, the thing is,
And
Mary,
feel
in
like their
some
kids are being
school
slighted,
committees,
and they're just as important.
you know,
know.
some school committees are not military friendly. I hate
Yeah.
to say it. I don't know how Wakefield is. And it's not necessarily the guidance counselors or even the teachers. I mean, I used to have teachers call me, "Hey, I got a kid I want you to talk to. I think he'd be good as a military policeman or this or that." So that's an area sometimes you got to tiptoe around.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
like I said, I don't know how the school committee is here, you know. So,
I
All
think
right.
Jim hit on the magic school here in Wakefield that everybody forgets, that Voc school that represents 12 different towns. So you got 12 different towns you're dealing with. And these jobs that they have in the military, they want apprenticeship. And that's exactly electricians, plumbers, you name it.
yeah. Yeah, my grandson's in the plumbing course there. And I've been talking to him. You know, I said, it's nothing you have to do, but if you want to, you know, I can guide you on it.
All right.
So, and he's
Okay,
got
the
friends.
last thing I want to say is to remind everybody, there is also a Memorial Day service yearly at the West Side Social Club. If you haven't been, and Dale will attest to this, I think Dan's been, I don't know who else has been. It's a very impressive ceremony. And it starts at 10 o'clock Memorial Day, and if you have a chance, go down. We're still looking for Dale. We're still looking for people to do the 21 gun salute, but that we haven't got anybody yet. So I think they're going to try and get a hold of you, Dale, for that. But just
I've
anybody that
spoken
hasn't
to
been, try and go
Yeah.
down. It's very impressive.
All right.
I'm done.
All right.
The chair's report. I'm going to move on here because I'm looking at the clock. I sent out the annual plan for 2024 and 2025. Is there anybody that did not get it? Okay, everybody got it. Take a look at that over the next month. That'll be the topic that we vote on in June. Okay, and then that gets posted to the town website. Okay, if we need to add anything. One thing that I would like to add to that, just an FYI for an upcoming event, is the town of Wakefield has done something, and I credit the Wakefield Police Department. Their ceremony is on 2 June, okay, for the fallen police. It's not on Memorial Day. So that's one less ceremony that the town has to do on Memorial Day.
9 a.m.
You remember what time that is, David?
Yes, 9 a.m. at the police station.
9 a.m. at the police station on 2 June.
Mhm.
They've been very, very helpful, and they support us, and we should support them.
They also, I belong to the high-risk team there, and we have once-a-month meetings. They're only 45 minutes long, but I attend it because in the past, we've had a couple of homeless veterans, and I was able to channel them down the right path to getting housing or getting the benefits they were entitled to. So
No, they definitely help the community out.
I think the fire department has a separate day too.
Yeah.
And
they do.
with the Lakeside Cemetery,
Yeah.
Yes. And I don't have that date off the top of my head. I believe it's in September, but I'm not certain. Anyway, some upcoming events. The one that I just want to highlight here is June 14. I don't know, Dale, you said you were going to see if somebody can get the podium from the Legion. Were you able?
We're dealing with Sam Stella here, and he's not the easiest person to talk to.
Okay,
I won't tell you what he said to me when I asked him if he'd be available for the gun salute for both Memorial Day and for the wreaths. It was not nice.
I do
It's
have
Bobby in his old age.
I
I think so too.
I have WCAT coming in with just a microphone and a speaker. They're not filming, okay, as a
Okay.
backup. So
The most important thing is that the DPW turned the power on.
well, with WCAT
It-
in there, that DPW power and everything else won't be a problem. Won't be our
Okay.
worry. Okay, that's something that WCAT can handle.
Yeah.
But there'll be
By
a
the
speaker
way, the smoke.
on the 14th. Okay.
Yep.
You want me to try to talk to Sam?
No,
I'm-
that's okay. I think Sam's overwhelmed right now. At least it sounds like it is, Dale.
No,
Yeah.
just angry. He's just angry, that's all.
That's okay.
Yeah, he is angry.
Does anybody have any questions on upcoming events?
I have one, mobile education van for Reach Across America. I've
Yes,
been having an awful lot of trouble getting in touch with the woman that's in charge of that. She's on the road with the truck. So, I mean, they travel all across the country, but kind of pencil that in. I'm not positive on that.
yeah, I got it penciled in. I just don't have the date.
If it would be, it would probably be November 17th, which would be a Saturday. She had talked about the 16th, but I'd rather have it on a Saturday where it gives the people at a working chance to get there.
Okay. That, I noted that. I can make that change.
And I think we had talked about having it over by the Boys and Girls Club also.
Okay. Moving on the agenda here. Town Council Liaison, Ed Dombrowski has been our liaison this year. I don't think he's on tonight.
No, I
No.
haven't seen him.
Yeah, I don't see him. That's okay. I'll send a separate thank you note to him. I do not know, it has not been announced yet who the Veterans Advisory Board liaison will be. I do have a guess, okay, but the town council hasn't ratified those additional duties. Any matters that are not anticipated for the agenda as discussed? Okay. So nobody else has any alibis. Another military term for,
Hey, Paul, I do have the table I mentioned that for the bell. I'm sure it's strong enough and I'll bring it with me. You don't want to use it, you're fine, but it'll be in the back of my car. I'm sure it can do the job.
okay. It may not hurt to help out. If it's not with the bells, definitely David could use it for the books.
There you go.
He's got 82 cases of books that he wants to pass out to the public.
Well, it's a smaller table. It's only about 4.5 feet long. It's not 6 foot.
Okay. That takes care of our agenda, correct, Mr. Secretary?
That is correct.
Okay. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I make the motion to adjourn.
Second,
Okay. All those in favor?
I
aye.
Aye.
I
Okay. Thank you very much.